Good evening, passengers. I am Jerrel. I'll be your captain for this flight this evening. I want to thank you for choosing Sungrand. We know that you have other game developers that you can watch, so we appreciate you choosing our development studio today to discuss the latest Star Fox trailer. Please let your flight attendant know if you have any needs, if your feet are in odd shape, and please check your safety manual and ensure that your G diffuser is operating properly before we take flight. Thank you. Please have a safe flight, and we will ensure that we get you to your destination safely. So it's interesting. Of course, they're leaning into the nostalgia of the original N64 scene. They want to have a faithful recreation, but also they understand there's a lot of nostalgia for people in this. It's primarily old people that play Star Fox, I think, because we all grew up with the games, and so they want to make sure that we recognize the product. And monetizing nostalgia is very, very popular these days. So I'm just going to point out some things that I think are interesting. I really like the amount of detail that we see in the cockpit. It looks like it's functional in terms of having some joysticks that are, I don't know how comfortable that would be to sort of handle the joysticks off to the side. I don't know if that's good or bad for your shoulders long term. I've never operated a motor vehicle or an aircraft with handles off to the side like this, but if you sort of look here, it looks like I don't know if that's good or bad for your back, honestly, in terms of ergonomics. There's a lot of switches or lights behind him. We don't get to see the front of the cockpit, but we do know that there must be a screen here. Now, I think it looks like this may collapse and fold when it's not being used. There is one minor technical flaw that I'm going to point out here, and this isn't necessarily the fault of the developers, but there is you can fix this. There is a gap. If you have a look here, just underneath Slippy's hat, you can see that the shadow, there is some light coming through the hat here. And that is something that you can fix in the settings. I'm not sure what engine that they are using this in, but you can adjust the shadow settings for that light source. So there's a light source here. It's casting a directional light, and your shadows, generally you can reduce the accuracy of the shadows to improve performance in the lighting itself, like the minimum space through which light can cast a shadow, and then you can calculate how geometry is supposed to cast a shadow. You can reduce that on a light by light source basis, and so if you would adjust that, then you can get rid of that little gap there with the light coming through in the hat. So for example, in Unity, by default, this will always happen in Unity. If you create a light source and you let it cast shadows, it will always happen. You have to manually reduce that setting. It's a numerical value, it's easy to fix, but I'm not sure if they care that much, if they would rather have the performance. But the thing is, you can adjust that value in real time. So if for cutscenes, you can adjust the accuracy of the lighting. So something like this, you can fix that during the cutscene, make sure the lighting is at, and then during gameplay, you can reduce sensitivity on that. I really enjoy this. And what are these? I think, I don't know, what is that? Is that how many enemies he's defeated or something? They say that Falco is an ace pilot, and I think you are awarded that title if you take down 3 enemies in one flight, which is not a feat. That's not a major feat. They brag like it's a big deal, and it's not, because in this game, per level, you are taking down like 500 enemies. I think we should do a count. I really like this. These kind of details make the world feel more lived in, because there's internal logic here. It's kind of saying, how do you open this? Oh, if you need to open it, from outside, maybe you pull this handle. You can see some imperfections and scratches in the metal here, but this is not photorealistic. This ship is still stylized. It's just high density and has physically based shaders, and physically based shaders or physically based rendering is a technology that became popular around 2013 or so, and it means that geometry in a game is able, in a CGI environment, is able to calculate reflections and shadows and light sources in a more complex way that's just quite visually appealing, and it just makes things look really interesting and organic. I really like the way that the glass, it's not glass. What it is a semi-transparent shader, and I like the way that it catches the light there. The specularity of that is very nice, and it sort of tapers away as the geometry widens out here lower down. I quite liked it. It's just pleasant looking, and then I like how it is catching that. So this is a result of physically based rendering or physically based shaders, because this part of the glass is able to catch the reflection of the sky here. It's not sky. It's in the past you would have called it like a sky box, you know, and it's able to have this sort of intense white light here. Something like this is very pleasing. It's very pleasant to look at. So that would have taken a lot of fine tuning in order to get the product to look like that. You can see a little bit of imperfections on the reflection. Have a look at the glass on the inside here. You can see some imperfections and scratchiness in there. It just makes it look organic. So I really like that. Falco says that the G diffuser seems fine, but we all know that there's going to be problems with the G diffuser. So I don't want, I'm gonna say I don't want to stop too much, but I know I'm going to be stopping heaps. I do like, you can sort of see this, it emits energy, this blue thing here as part of the R-wing. Very pleasant. I'm gonna try to not stop too much. I really like the choice of the heads-up display here. They make it seem like you could be looking through a cockpit, and that is the aesthetic that they've chosen here. Everything is semi-transparent in terms of this backing here, and it's important to have this backing to the elements, because if you didn't have the backing, the elements could blend in to the environment and it becomes unclear. So having the semi-transparent darker backing that's for the viewer. It's to increase legibility. And I like the futuristic soft colors of the heads-up display. I'm tired of this harsh, everything is just pure white, blinding right in your eye sockets. So having this kind of a softer cyber colors, cyberpunk, not cyberpunk, sort of, you know, it's like a holographic, you know, sort of. If you kind of look at the display screen there, that's got the green color. So they're trying to match that. You see, you look at Falco's screen here, is this light green, and so they're trying to reflect that, and the scouters are light green, and so the heads-up display has this light green hue to it. It makes the whole world feel cohesive. So I really like that attention to detail. Even you look at the cursor, it's this light green. It's kind of the idea of, if you take a look at old computers, you know, if you ever played the Oregon Trail, if you grew up in America, the old computers that we went to school with, only old people would understand what I'm talking about, and the screens were just green. They were just that's the only color they had, and that kind of has that vibe, is that even though this is a sci-fi world, probably set in the future because they have way more advanced technology than us, there's still a sense of visceral, tangible technology, because there is something basic about it, and that's an appeal that the old Star Wars movies had, is that they have all this futuristic technology, but then their computers look so tangible and basic. And there is an appeal to this through that, and I really enjoy that. Let's see here. Yes, quite nice. Gee, that looks fantastic, doesn't that? Have a look at those clouds. The way that the sun is casting shadow shafts from the clouds. The clouds are blocking the sunlight coming through, and then they are casting shadows in there. Gee, that looks fantastic. This is so great. I'm not sure if this doesn't need to be rendered in real time. This can actually just be a flat image. And the reason why is because we don't move around the scene too much, and something like this would actually be very complex to have to program and make functional in real time when it doesn't need to be. This is a situation where they could just use a flat image, and that would be a better solution because you can render it once in real time, and it's easier to create this in an environment because it's so complex, and then to just use a still image. So I would say that's not even a 3D model. That's not rendered in real time. It's a lot cheaper on your resources. You're going to have a better performance if you just have that as still image. And now that I'm looking at it, I think it is a still image. Yeah. Now I'm going to explain this visual effect. There's a couple things going on. We have a semi-transparent shader, but most likely this is not a 3D model. Most likely what this is a quad, and a quad is just two triangles put together. If it was on the Sega Saturn, it would genuinely just be a square if it was on the Sega Saturn. So this is a quad, and I believe they are rendering. They have a camera sitting somewhere looking at this character, and then this camera specifically looking at that character and then rendering it to the quad. And then there's a couple of effects we have on the shader here. If the way the camera moves, okay, I think this is not doing that because we can look around the character. So I believe this actually is a 3D model that's present. There's a couple of things going on. They have this sort of distortion effect that makes it look like a TV that's on the fritz, and we have a rim lighting as well, so it gives it this green hue on the outside, and the green hue along the character matches the light source of the projector, so to speak. So that those two visual effects combine to make it look like a holograph. No, a holograph are the Pokemon cards that everyone's stealing from card shops and toy shops right now. Yeah, that looks really fantastic. There's a lot of movement in the character, and while I like expressive animation, I feel like it's moving a little too much, and I think for some people it gives it an uncanny look that he's kind of like talking like this, and I get it, because it's very exciting in game development when you have access to more technology and you can do more, and you kind of want to show off, look how much we can do. But the characters do this, and that's something I notice in the Final Fantasy VII Remake and Rebirth, is characters, when they talk, they're like this, they're like bobbleheads, and you're trying to show off, look how much we can do with motion capture, but it's a little off-putting. When people talk in real life, I've been talking, and you know, I think my hands have been moving maybe a little too much. Maybe I'm part Italian, but I genuinely don't do this, and that's something that Fox is doing a lot. And we need to balance expressiveness and conveyance with the tone of the piece and realism. You know, we need to find a balancing point between that. And if we don't have the characters move enough, the scene can look boring. They may not be conveying their feelings enough. And in games, we generally have to exaggerate movements because it can be hard to understand or hard to see what a character's trying to convey. And so we kind of have to overdo animation sometimes. And where that started was the first generation of 3D consoles, is the cameras were generally very far back, and so we had to exaggerate animations because otherwise we wouldn't see that much. It's the difference between an actor performing on stage and on camera. On stage, you have to have these big sweeping movements, but on camera, on film, you can have smaller, subtler, more subdued performances. And I'm not sure if every developer or every animator is considering that we're not on the stage anymore. When the camera's up close, we are on camera, we're on film. So it's a lot. There's something neat that I noticed about their difference in their jackets here. Falco's zipper stops down here, and Fox's zippers go all the way to the top. Pretty neat, pretty interesting. I really like Slippy's animations. He's got a bouncy, frenetic energy. He's got a lot of movement. It shows that he's young, excited. I think the voice performances are really great so far. I really like the use of the environmental lighting here, so you can see the characters are illuminated. What is Falco doing down there? Falco, what's going on? So here's everyone's, okay, standing. Falco's sitting. No, Slippy is sitting. What is Falco? Why is he so low to the ground? I don't understand what he's doing down there. That's funny to me. Okay. He is very moist. He looks so wet. Oh, oh, oh. Hold on. What was that? Okay. He kicks his jacket up. He lifts his knees up, and then you see the jacket. So there, it looks like there is a degree of physics simulation on the clothes. Very interesting, because something like that, it would be obnoxious to program, to key animate this, to do this with keyframe. Hold on, his knees go up, it pushes his jacket. Ooh, there's a flatness. Whoa, look here. There's a real flatness to the zipper. I'm not sure if there's any thickness to the jacket or if it's just like a thin plane. Interesting. That is so interesting to me. So there is physics simulation on the clothes. There's flatness to the clothes. That is not keyframe animated. This looks great. Oh, is that why Falco's so low to the ground? Okay, that he's sitting on a lower level than Slippy. It was just funny that he was barely in frame, you know? It just seems like something like out of an Edgar Wright movie. So they have like their tactical board here. Ooh, I like this pixel distortion effect from the thrusters here. Very nice. I think I think I'm focusing too much. I'm just gonna let the video play now. I'm focusing too much on stuff. There's just so much to talk about. The Landmaster. You know what is missing from this game is the Chicken Walker. And I demand justice for Chicken Walker. Ooh, yeah. The Blue Marine. I always like the Blue Marine because you don't get to use it very often. It's so cool. But I would like the Chicken Walker back. Oh, that was interesting. That was interesting. You ever look at this piece of geometry? It starts... it uses screen door transparency as the camera gets closer, but then there's a certain point where it stops being rendered. So have a look at that, and then that's a screen door transparency. Ah, if you have a look at the screen door, it is not a perfect pixel by pixel screen door, which to me shows that this is the actual internal resolution is actually lower, and that it is using some upscaling method. I don't know if it's using whatever DLSS or some other upscaling method, but this uneven pattern tells me that indeed it is rendering internally at a lower resolution, and then it's upscaled. And then look at this point. So for some reason the screen door transparency stops, and then you're going to see a point where it is no longer rendered right there. So that's interesting. And we have to do that. Otherwise, in this case, it's a gameplay issue because you don't want things blocking the view. In this game, the most important thing is you have to see what is your environment. The value of visual in this game is extremely high. And you can't afford to have things blocking the camera, so I think that's why the tolerance is set so high on that. Ooh, I like that screen wipe. That was very Star Wars, that screen wipe. Ooh, you can see the jacket clipping into Falco's clothes right here. So that is a result of the physics simulation, right? There, the clothes are able to react in real time, but we also have to assign colliders to prevent the clothes, whatever material, whatever geometry is being physics simulated, we have to block it. So there's an invisible collider. There should be an invisible collider in his chest, and it stops that geometry from clipping into his body. I'm not sure if the invisible collider just is not big enough. Generally, you have to make them a little bigger than the geometry we're trying to shield. So you can see that clipping inside. So maybe there isn't. There either isn't a collider or the collider is too small, because it's there for a while. Okay. My organs are melting. I hated this in the original. I always lost lives on this. I always got killed here. I did not like this. I actually don't know how to not die on that stage. It's Cat. It was so cool always seeing Cat in the game. The inside of a nebula. It's beautiful. I really like the low frame rate on the character portraits here as on their communications. Again, it's that mixture of futuristic technology blended with primitive technology in this marriage that makes it feel tangible and interesting. I really like that stylization. Really great choice there. Bill? Bill looks so cool. I think this is our first look at Bill. Totally awesome. Very rad. He's got his, aviator goggles on. I'm just kind of surprised Bill's name isn't Dog or Barky or something, You got Slippy, Falco Fox. His name should be Dog, I guess. Sound off in the chat if you say route or route. She says you can get the route can change. Do you say route or route when it comes to this context here? R-O-U-T-E. Oh man, you know what that shot of peppy hair made me feel like for a second? You know how sometimes you look down and turn on your phone and then you suddenly have a triple neck and you're like, oh man, have I put on that much weight? Why do I have a triple neck? And then you kind of look like Jabba the Hutt. I don't know if that's just me or if anyone else gets that where they look down and turn on their phone and then they look like Jabba the Hutt, but I think that's kind of happening at this angle for Peppy here. Hold on, have a look. This is one of those futuristic glass displays, but he's lifting it by the glass, not by the frame. Have a look. See, he's lifting it. I personally would not lift it that way because you should support the frame, not the glass itself. I don't know if holding it there is going to apply pressure in the middle where it'll shatter the glass, but that is not how I would have done it. But this is their future technology, not mine. This is going to be cool. I think this is one of the core appeals of this game that people are really going to be using more than the story mode is this battle mode. It would be so cool if you could play as the other pilots as well, Bill and Kat. If they could just add them in, that would be so cool. And to make it even, just add some generic enemies in there because we've seen the portraits for the generic enemies. Oh, that is a very cool laser. I like that. Just realizing that's not something I've seen in a Star Fox. I like a big laser. I was playing a mech game on the Switch the other day, and the game eventually I did a mission where they gave me this massive laser that was just like that, and so I was just spamming that. It felt so good, just spamming a giant laser. Looks like you could sort of customize your badge, your banner a little bit. That's kind of neat. Okay, this looks fantastic. Again, I think it's funny that Falco's chugging this energy drink. Really, I think the presentation is really great here. Great voice work, great animations. It looks like it's just going to be heaps of fun. I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and if you'd like to check out my latest game, that is The Hero of Destiny was killed by the final boss, and in this game, the Hero of Destiny is gone, and you have to build a team out of the NPCs that are left. The NPCs decide, hey, let's try and defeat the final boss, but these NPCs are all level 0, they have no magic, no special weapons, but they do have some skills that have niche uses. It's a little bit like a deck builder in that they can each solve a puzzle in some way in terms of dealing with enemies and threats, and you've got to build a team and try and find some way to make it through the final dungeon, which is end game. Everything is so much stronger than you. You've got to find a way to get through the final dungeon. There's more than 50 playable characters, and you can, of course, make them stronger. There's a battle mode. You can build your dream team and see how far you get in the Coliseum. That game is available on Steam and Switch. Thanks very much for spending some time with me today. Take care of yourselves. Be well. I'll see you in the next one.